because sports sure do matter here. I got two awesome guys with me here today. Barin von Foregger, who is the director of all the internet, or at least that's what he tells everybody. And he is directing. He set this whole thing up, produced it, lined it up. Basically, he's just got me between the ditches. And Barin, we really do appreciate that. And we have the assignments editor for MPB News, which is unfortunate because he probably knows more sports than I do. So he could be the director of MPB Sport. Michael Guidry is with us today. Guys, thanks for being here.
Oh,
well, thanks, Jay.
No problem, Jay.
Absolutely. Looking forward to doing this.
You know a little bit more than I do.
Fun to hang out with you guys. Y'all are the coolest guys at MPB.
Oh, my God. If we're the coolest guys at MPB, well, Michael is cool. If I'm part of the coolest guys at MPB, we need to
y'all are putting me on a platform that I do not deserve to be on.
We need a bigger net to catch cooler people with. So we've got plenty of things to get into today. A little bit later, of course, it's Thanksgiving week, and that means it's Egg Bowl time. Egg Bowl is Thursday night. Some folks not necessarily excited about that. It being on Thanksgiving night. I'm not a traveling fan of either one of the schools, so for me, it's absolutely perfect. You cannot have, as a Mississippian, who's not going to be going to the games or spending the money and time to like tailgate or cook and kind of stuff like that. It's the best way to end a Thanksgiving here in the state of Mississippi. But for the fans that do travel and do tailgate and do have season tickets and are having to try to work 2 or 3 Thanksgiving meals and get-togethers and still travel and go see the game, I totally understand why it's an absolute disaster of a plan to try to put together. Before we get into all that, what do you guys think about the Egg Bowl being on Thanksgiving night?
I think it's great. I love it. All eyes on Ole Miss and Mississippi State in the entire country. Isn't it the only Thanksgiving Day game besides pro?
I'm not sure if it's the only one, but I know it's the primetime game usually by itself. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the most high profile, I think, of all the college games out there for sure. It will be competing for my attention with the Saints Bills and the Twilight Zone, Sean Payton coach team, used to high scoring offenses, lots of points, and then we haven't really been seeing that very much at all. But as a neutral, I think it's cool to have high profile games on Thanksgiving, and it just so happens to be this case this year. It's 2 really high profile teams. You got one team shooting for a potential New Year's 6, and then you always have the Pirate. And whenever time you get the Pirate involved, it's gonna be fun. If anything, in the post game, they'll make it fun. They'll make it interesting.
I mean, if they can behave, I think it'll be great national attention for both schools. But if they come out and kind of get lit, it might be embarrassing for both schools. I mean, we've had some crazy moments over the years. I know y'all are going to talk about that later, but I'm excited. I'm ready.
Yeah. We've had some memorable moments that have caused that rivalry to turn on its ear, moments that have changed the entire course of that rivalry. As you mentioned, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. There's been multiple Egg Bowls that have had brawls before they could even get the game going. That's not necessarily the cleanest thing in the world for everybody to see us folks here in the SIP doing, but sure does add the intensity to the rivalry, to be sure. This game, specifically it being on Thanksgiving night, not super hot when the teams aren't doing well. So the last 2 or 3 years, we kind of had a down cycle for both these teams, but they're both, as y'all mentioned, back up right now. Both are going to be in the top 25 for this game. Both come in pretty doggone hot. And so, I mean, that for casual fans, for non-Mississippians, for non-SEC fans, non-regional fans, it gives them, gamblers are going to love this game because you got the air raid on one side. Ole Miss's defense has been showing out this year, which is something I don't think anybody expected. And so this is a great, kind of clash of styles or clash of what is making these two teams successful coming into this game. So the gamblers are going to love this game. The people watching the playoff rankings are going to love this game because it has bowl implications and kind of, like Michael said, one of these teams can make a New Year's Day 6 game. But we got some stuff coming up a little bit later on. We've got Lane Kiffin talking about this game coming up. And then before that, we have Chance Campbell at Ole Miss linebackers. Going to be talking about Will Rogers who is the Mississippi State quarterback. Interesting, I've heard that this year the Connerly Trophy voting has been extended to past the date of the Egg Bowl, so that game could have an impact. And I would imagine it's between two guys, the quarterback at Ole Miss and the quarterback at Mississippi State, unless you want to talk about the Superbacks at Southern Miss, all 12 of them. But I think that's awesome. For folks who dig the Connerly Trophy, this game, I don't see where it doesn't basically have a direct impact as to who wins that game, because both quarterbacks have been amazing this season. I astounded you guys with that talk right there.
I was expecting Barin, the Ole Miss guy, to chime in on that. It will be. I think Matt Corral has gotten a lot of, a lot more attention. He's been mentioned in the Heisman race. But Will Rogers has been balling out, and I think it's an astute observation, Jay. I think that this game will go a long way in deciding the Connerly Trophy. It'll be interesting, especially since they extended the voting. They changed it. What was it? Maybe 6 or 7 or so years ago, they changed the way the Connerly was voted. So Juan Joseph could never win it again.
Right.
As a Millsaps alum, I think it was a remarkable achievement for someone like Juan Joseph to beat out Michael War and Perea Jerry to win when he did, and I think 9 or so. I think this is another topic for another day, but I think it upset a few of the people up on high at some of those larger institutions.
Look, there's no doubt that's the reason the voting changed. And now everybody gets a finalist. So, like the punter for Valley can come eat dinner at the Hall of Fame Museum. And Juan Joseph, awesome story. Rest in peace to that guy, man. Died way too early in life. All right, so before we get going, I want to talk about the Jackson State situation for a minute. Just an amazing scene at Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium this past Saturday against Alcorn, a very worthy arch rival in the Soul Bowl. 58,000 was the announced attendance. A lot of people who were there thought it was more than that. I think the stadium may seat officially like 61 or something like that. It used to be 65 or 62.5, but they've moved seats out of the end zone and they've changed stuff around. What's funny is they did sell the game out. Like, they sold out all the tickets. But I think they had more people in there than they had space. And there's one giant section in the upper bowl, the upper part of the bowl, that was completely tarped off. Didn't think that one all the way through. So I heard Rob J., the play-by-play guy for Jackson State, he said people were like pulling the tarp off, just taking it upon themselves, just yanking it up and grabbing seats, and like some security guards had to be like, this might be contracted to be here. You don't know. Like, maybe this is an advertisement. Anyway, but because they won that game against Alcorn, and look, I knew Alcorn was going to make that tough. Alcorn finished 6-5 this year, but if you look at their schedule and the amounts that they lost their 5 games by, they were all close. They're a very good team. They're not going anywhere, I don't think, with Fred McNair there. But Jackson State winning that game. They win the Eastern Division of the SWAC. They finish undefeated in the league, and they will host the SWAC championship game December 4th, I believe. It's either 3rd or 4th, Friday or Saturday. It's the reason the MHSAA high school championships, which were slated for Jackson, wound up having to go to Hattiesburg and M.M. Roberts Stadium on the campus of Southern Mississippi. But Deion Sanders, I just want to give him so much credit, because his cachet has totally injected an excitement into this program. It's totally turned it around. And because of not just his brand and his name, but what him and his staff have been able to do to get wins and losses results on the field. It's one thing to have a super famous coach and be 7-3 at the end of the season. It's an entirely different thing to be going for a 10-1 season in a conference championship. And on 2 occasions already, they put 50,000 plus in that stadium, which is awesome. Back to the old days with that, drawing huge crowds. And then they put the season or the SWAC championship game tickets on sale Monday morning. They said people were lined up. Cars were lined up at the ticket office at 5 a.m. to buy those tickets. I hope they sell that game out too. That's going to be awesome. I hope Jackson State does. And hey, look, the team that finished second behind JSU in the SWAC East, Florida A&M, accepted a playoff bid to the FCS playoffs. If that tells you how good Jackson State is this year, I think they're 14th and 15th in the 2 FCS polls. So even if there were no SWAC championship game and no Celebration Bowl to go to, they would be in the playoff this year pretty easily, probably with an at-large bid, even if they didn't win the league. But all right, let's get to it. Let's talk about the Egg Bowl coming up. We've got a clip from Lane Kiffin here. He is going to talk about the difficulty of playing this game in Starkville. Boy, Lane has been super respectful. Both these guys, Kiffin and Leach, have just covered each other in praise all season long. The team side guys hate this stuff, but they've got nothing but respect for each other. We're going to hear from Kiffin about playing this game at Starkville.
All right, so strange schedule this week. Full practice today. In all situations, really one is based down where they have practice. So challenging is what it is. Very good opponent coming up. Extremely hard place to play. Very loud. Full place that you have a lot of challenges on offense. Have to play in a place like that. So, best passing offense in the country and the best rush defense in the country also. A lot of problems. So very multiple. There's a lot of really good, long, strong players on defense. So done a phenomenal job recruiting.
Well, somebody get Lane an Adderall. He sounds depressed. But midweek press conferences, what are you going to do? A requirement of the job. But, Michael, what do you think about this? This game is interesting this year because, look, at the beginning of the season, and you talked about it with Corral earlier, he's the guy that came in with all the Heisman hype this year. Will Rogers has played an incredible season for Mississippi State. And what I don't know that people necessarily anticipated is Mississippi State coming into this game as the offensive team in their flow, and Ole Miss is coming into the game as the team in defensive flow right now.
Right.
And it's a matchup, and it adds a layer to this game that I don't think people anticipated, but it sure does make it fun to try to anticipate or pick who's going to win this game.
I think it's a fun matchup. There's been times in this rivalry, you think back, 7, 8, 12 years ago, where this matchup did not seem exciting. No disrespect to Sylvester Croom, but I mean, watching that offense was painful at times. You have two coaches, and Lane didn't show it in that clip. Coach Kiffin didn't show it in that clip. But he's a charismatic individual. He's more subdued. I don't think he's as brass as Leach is. But I think these are two teams, and you hear it often. Teams kind of adopt the personality of their coach, and then I think in year two with both of these guys, we were starting to see that. The Ole Miss offense, especially with Corral and the relationship he has with Kiffin, it looks like they're having fun. Kiffin looks like he's having fun. The air raid looks like the air raid. It looked like it took some time to get going last year, but it looks like the air raid. And Will Rogers looks. It's funny. He's a Brandon native, and you think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was another Brandon native. Running the air raid, and we went from Gardner Minshew at Washington State under the Pirate to now Will Rogers, another Brandon native, doing the same thing with Mike Leach here at Starkville. And you can go back to Graham Harrell before that. You can go back to Cliff Kingsbury, who's now an NFL coach. All these guys with all that experience in the air raid, and it looks like the air raid. And it'll be a fun game. The tenor of the coaches is different. You've been at Mississippi longer than I have. What is it like to see, and you've talked about team site guys, what is it like for you to see this rivalry kind of a little more subdued?
I think it's awesome for the teams themselves and the schools. I think the vitriol from the periphery has taken these two rivals down twice in the last 20 or so years when they were both getting red hot at the same time. Once around 2000, when some Ole Miss fans kind of made it their mission to take State down. And every time one succeeds at that, the other, without the competition, falls off. And it's the same thing a couple of years ago when a Mississippi State fan kind of made it his business to take Ole Miss down. And in the process, he caused a lot of shakeup it caused a lot of shakeup at Mississippi State that put them back a couple of years. But now that everybody's back to it, I think that both of these coaches have been around, have enough perspective to see, and these two coaches and their different roads to this game. Kiffin has won at a bunch of outposts, Lubbock, Texas, Pullman, Washington, and then Starkville, Mississippi, throw that on top of there. And then Kiffin has been fired from some of the most high-profile jobs in some of the biggest places that you can coach, including the NFL, the University of Tennessee, fired on tarmac at LAX, coaching USC and all this kind of stuff. But the guys have perspective, and they understand that the best way to take care of your business is to pay attention to your business and not worry about the other guy's business, even if it's your arch rivals. And they've been good with that so far. And I think they both understand that one's success without the other pushing them is more difficult. So that all being said, this game, do you have I just called up Ole Miss's schedule here. They gave up 17 to Vanderbilt, a touchdown late. They gave up 19 to Texas A&M. We're shutting them out at halftime. 14 to Liberty, which take for that what you will. They didn't have a great game against Auburn. They gave up 17 to LSU, 26 to Tennessee. So, their defense, as I mentioned there, has continued to improve as the season has gone along. And, Mississippi State came back from behind. This is what, for me personally, and I guess we're almost out of time, so we'll get to the actual picking of the game here if you guys want to do that. If not, whatever. The thing that I think makes this Egg Bowl super interesting is I think Mike Leach has an upper hand in a game that's very close between these two teams, in the fact that he's shown twice this year that he can come in and a game plan can be completely off the mark, but he and his crew, his coaching staff, can adjust at halftime and even during the game, because like this Auburn situation when they were down 28-3, they adjusted before they even got to halftime. And when you're down 28-3, whatever, let's go ahead and make adjustments now. It doesn't matter. We're already getting killed. But they scored a touchdown before halftime, wound up scoring like 40 unanswered points and winning that game. I think that, and the fact that Mississippi State comes in offensively really in a groove and at home, I think Mississippi State has the upper hand in this one. Of course, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Ole Miss won this game. Usually whoever you think has the upper hand doesn't win this game, specifically if you think they have the upper hand and they're at home. That usually always works in the opposite direction because Egg Bowl, right? But I think if I was going to put a line on this one, I'd say like Mississippi State by 6 or 6.5, and the total up around 59-60, something like that. So I'm looking like, make a 33-27 game, Mississippi State, something like that. I can see it flipping and going in the opposite direction. Ole Miss could win this game 33-27, though I do think it will be close and entertaining. Michael, who do you have in this one? Or have you thought about picking this game, or do you want to stay out?
No, I'm happy to pick it, and what I get from the Egg Bowl, two things. It seems, at least in recent memory, and again, I didn't grow up watching the Egg Bowl, but I've lived in Mississippi for almost 20 years. Is that the team with the most to gain, or even the most to lose, in this rivalry always seems to find a way to lose, to mess things up.
Yes.
And it just had it's one of those games where that's the case. And when I think, and if I take that into consideration, then it's not, it is not by any means like an X's and O thing. It's just kind of, the way certain rivalries go. And if you look at that, you kind of have to, it makes me want to lean towards State. But the other thing is that, these games often come down to weird, kooky things. And if it's a close game, it comes down to the kicking game. And we know Mike Leach's struggles in the kicking game as of lately, where he's putting a call out to anyone who wants to come try out for kicker. Just during a press conference, there's that issue. There's that question mark. It's a close game. Does he have the confidence to put it in the leg of a kicker? So I'm leaning State because of just the nature of the Egg Bowl. It is at home, but sometimes that doesn't really mean anything either. I think there's a stretch there recently where the away team won 5 or 6 in a row. That's memory serving me correctly. I don't know, but I'm gonna lean State in this one.
Yeah, that's a good pick. All eyes were on the offensive guys, but for me, I think it's going to come down to how well the defense plays, because whoever can stop the other team's offense has a better chance, and then you give your kicker that chance to put you over the top. I tell you what, Michael, I think we lost Jay, the host of the show. He's just locked.
I thought he was just like really, paying attention. He's locked on my screen. He's locked on my screen. I thought he was really just into my take just now. I thought maybe that's what it was, but apparently not.
That's pretty funny. So
there he is. Jay's back. Yeah.
Wait, is he back?
Well, he was back.
Oh, okay. Wait, he's missing.
Ironing out the wrinkles a little bit on the first time here on Extra Point with Jay White. Sometimes Jay White, sometimes
there he
not.
Goes. Okay. But it looks like he's not going live. Michael, have you noticed he's missing from the screen too? It's like a coup.
Yeah, there's no, that's something for the producer to look at there, Barin. But we can hear you. You're just a blank white void right now on the screen.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's go to this one. Let's see if this one works. I'm gonna go.
It's me. It's just me. Hey. And there's that everyday tech, part of Jay White coming through during.
Well, for some reason Jay is not. It says your internet connection is garbage. That's why you're not. Okay. So anyway,
I said I'm leaning State. I'm going State because of the weird, wacky nature of the Egg Bowl.
Yeah,
the team with the most to gain or the most to lose always ends up, coming up short.
Yeah, and I'm gonna. Hey Jay, see if you can come back in. I'm gonna pick the team, like I said, the one that shows up on defense. I'm going to give the edge to Ole Miss because their performance against Vanderbilt, if that didn't fire them up to come out and play some football, then they don't deserve to win the Egg Bowl. And Mississippi State will roll on this one with the momentum that they've had beginning after the Memphis loss. Just slowly but surely, they've kind of built on that, and Will Rogers has made himself one of the SEC's elite. So he's going to be hard to stop if you don't have a defense. And we're going to wait for Jay to try to come back. I wish I had something to just Michael and put your face up there.
Well, I don't know if that's what the people want.
Oh, that's what the people want. But Michael, before we go, and if we wait on Jay, what was the deal you were talking about earlier? You were saying if it wasn't for this certain act, we might not have lost a certain coach, and the tides of coaching changes may never have happened.
Well, like I said, earlier before we got, on, I don't know if you call this on air or before we went live earlier in the day, the butterfly effect and what one leg lift can do. We talked about. I mentioned that this game always tends to not favor the one with the most to gain or the most to lose.
There's Jay.
Matt Luke had a lot to lose in 2019. And thanks to an Elijah Moore leg lift in the end zone and a subsequent missed extra point, that the dominoes started falling. Matt Luke did not survive the outcome of that game as a coach. I mean, he survived. He went to Georgia and won a Sugar Bowl as an offensive line coach within a couple of weeks. And then, I mean, like Jay said, when both programs are trying to best each other on the recruiting trail and best each other on the field and not best each other with the nonsense and the gotchas, good things can happen. And not wanting to be bested by what seems to be a really good hire right now in Lane Kiffin. I guess, I am not, and this is post Strickland. So I always wanted to credit this to Strickland, but this is all speculation. But looking in the mirror and seeing that you have Joe Moorhead, who struggled for 2 years in the SEC, and then on the other side of town or the other side of the state, up north at the school up north, as Dan Mullen liked to say, you see someone like Lane Kiffin come in, you kind of have to look at if that's the best you can do. And they decided it wasn't. And here comes Mike Leach, a rocky, bumpy, not bad, but bumpy first year for both, and weird situation, weird circumstances with COVID and and all that. But with year two, and oftentimes year two is the year you really know if you're headed in the right direction or not. And both teams seem to be in a good position.
All right, I think that's got to do it for this. I think I'm connected again, so I'm going to wrap it up and say that's it for us. Look, here's the thing: 2 of us have picked Mississippi State, so take the boat and put it in the other direction if you're going to bet on this game, which you can do legally in Mississippi, so that's cool. And the other thing to take away is in our first Extra Point Mississippi here on MPB is don't trust a Windows 95 computer to live stream a camera off of. That's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We're going to be here all the time with some more sports content. I know, Michael, if you saw the flag in his background, the Spurs flag, he and I love some English football. So we're going to talk soccer if Barin will let us. I think that's more in our public media demo, to be honest with you. So, but we're going to talk that a lot. And we're also going to talk about the sports going on here in the state of Mississippi, including very soon the Mississippi High School Football Championships, which will air on MPB Radio Friday, December 3rd and Saturday, December 4th. The games will be at 11, 3, and 7 p.m. on each of those 2 days. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you again here soon on MPB. This is Extra Point Mississippi.